Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Friday at 11. My name's Penny Carr and I'm from Being Mrs C, and today there's just three of us today, so I'm joined by the lovely Ali and Joe. So do you want to introduce yourself, girls? One of you?
Hello, I'm Ali and I'm from Bugbird and Bee, so I haven't got a lower third.
Hello, and I'm Joanne from Kids Days Out Reviews. Can you hear me, or have I got my microphone on mute again?
Yeah, we can hear you loud.
Good.
Yeah, loud and clear. I was expecting someone's internet connection to have got knocked out by last night's storms. Did you have the storms last night where you two are? No?
No.
Oh, goodness.
Right.
Here, it must have been about 11 o'clock at night. Suddenly, just the most almighty thunderstorm. I mean, whole rooms being lit up through blackout curtains by the lightning, rumbles of thunder overhead that just went on forever, and the rain was torrential. So we had one big storm, and then it died down, and then it just started up again for a second one. And just as that happened, my husband was coming back from some networking event he'd been in, like the other side of town, and he'd cycled there. And he had to cycle back because the pub had kicked them all out because it was closing time. And he got in and he just opened the front door and he was just soaked. And he said he was just cycling through rivers pretty much to get home. The thunder again was horrendous. There's talk of the High Street in Harpenden, which is like the next town up the road. Apparently that's all been flooded. There's been water rushing through shops and everything. When he took my daughter to school this morning, the school alarm system apparently was set off by this in the night and they can't stop it, or something random like that. And just loads and loads of things. It was unbelievable. Really, really was. So
No, nothing. I mean, it makes a change in Yorkshire, but it was glorious up here. It was nice.
Oh, that's all right for you then. It was lovely in the early evening because I went out with Lucy from Lulastic. We took the kids out for a walk because she's staying just down the road. And it was gorgeous, and we sat outside and we were having a snack and stuff like that, and it was really, really nice. But boy, did it change. The paddling pool's now in the garden, absolutely full of water. Might have to empty it out before the kids find it, but still. Anyway, so this week, for most of us, I think it's the last week we're going to be doing this before the school summer holidays. Most of the kids break up. Some I know break up today, some sort of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So we decided to talk about travel tips with kids. So I'm guessing quite a few people will be going somewhere over the school summer holidays, whether it's a full-on holiday overseas, here in the UK, or just lots of day trips and things like that. So really we're going to hope to share some of our top tips for doing so. And obviously this is quite pertinent with Joanne in particular, with her Kids Days Out reviews blog and everything. So should we start with you, Joe, as to some of your top tips?
Oh gosh, top tips. Well, I don't know really. I mean, I think travel's one of those things that's very personal to people. Like you say, you can either go on little day trips, or you can go travelling across Asia for 6 weeks. Whatever you want to do really. My top tips, probably from my personal perspective, is to do with travel sickness. I suffer travel sickness. I'm probably the world's travel sickest travel blogger ever. I have 4 daughters who are exactly the same. It's often quite a lottery when we go on a day trip, not if we're going to get any, but who's going to go first. So we try and keep trips quite local.
Have you thought of having a blog sponsor, which is like a travel sickness?
Yeah, Quells. I think Quells and anybody that supplies buckets and carrier bags and wipes would be an amazing sponsor for my blog. We don't get too much of it, but we do find that if we travel at the wrong time of day, we tend to get it. If we go straight after breakfast, that can be a problem. If we go straight after tea, that can be a problem. We've done it before where we've done a long journey. We've gone away down south for the weekend for a family wedding, and I got them in from school at 4, fed them. At 5, I got them ready to go in away for the weekend. At 6, we put them in the car, and we travelled between 6 and midnight to get there. And that actually worked out quite well, because by then sort of the tea had settled and they were a bit sleepier, and I could sort of risk putting them in the car for longer. But yeah, the worst thing you can do for mine is give them breakfast, put them in the car, and then go off for a 2-hour trip somewhere. It's not pleasant. It's not good. So we tend to sort of either sort of stagger the meal times or just work around them really, and try and travel at a time when it's not so bad, because I would rather get there slower and less covered in puke, I think, than faster and have to deal with, because you just end up having to stop on the way, you have to get changed, and it's just horrendous. So yeah, we would rather have set off a little bit later, I think, and avoid the issues. Is what, sorry?
Not use medication.
No, I mean I've been travel sick since I was a child basically, and I've tried various different things. Nothing's ever worked. The medication just makes me more anxious. So I have kind of grown out of it as I've got older. So I'm just kind of hoping that the girls will too, really, and just persevere with it in the meantime. So.
Yeah, because I was exactly the same. I've got better if I got older. When you get really hot, that makes it worse as well. But the girls are terrible. Kieran's not so bad. But we tend to use, I can't remember what it's called now, but you just take one and it lasts all day. And we have tried the little bands as well. But I think it's quite one of those things that's psychological. They know they're going on the trip. They know it's going to get hot, and then it's, so because I don't drive, so our only method of transport is like buses or trains. So if we can't get there by train, like this summer is going to be a nightmare because of all the local electrification of Bath. So yeah, it's not pleasant, and again it's like bags and everything, and sometimes you have to get off a stop earlier and walk a bit longer.
Yeah, so we've got quite a lot of tricks really for sort of keeping them occupied in the car. I mean, I love all these Pinterest pins that you see, tips to keep your child entertained on a long trip. And I think, yeah, that's great. But if my child sits there doing jigsaws and colouring books and looking at DVDs, I'm going to make it to the top of the road before we all get sick.
Yeah.
Because that's the worst thing that you can do. If somebody's travel sick, is tell them to look at something within the car. It doesn't work. As somebody who's had travel sickness for 38 years, okay, that is not a good idea.
I think lots of audio books, and we've also put together our own CDs or playlists on our phones, whatever, of music for car journeys to get over that having to hold things. And also we find that if you give the kids stuff to play with in the car, then actually they'll lose something, and then there'll be all this screaming, "Mummy, I've dropped this, I've dropped that, pick it up now!" And you're like, "Well, I can't, I'm doing 70 miles an hour on the motorway, I can't really just turn around and pick it up." Or they'll go, "Look at this, look at what I've drawn." Again, you're like, "Yeah, can't really look now. You've got to look now, Mummy." So, yeah.
Played car snooker.
Oh, is that with the coloured cars?
Yes. That's quite helpful. We don't, like I said, I don't travel so much. No, and actually we went off on Sunday, and the kids were fine. So that was a great one. I just remembered that. Yeah, that's only to Swindon, but they never felt sick. But yeah, car snooker, you go through the colours of snooker, and they have to. So the first one is red, so you have to get so many red cars, and then you go up. And hopefully, by the time you get to the really difficult colours, you've arrived at your destination.
Well, that's good. We've not played car snooker. We do a lot of I Spy. We even do I Spy on the walk to school, though. But now that little Miss C is getting better at understanding what letters certain words start with, although we did spend like 10 minutes stood in the school playground the other day with her going, "Ch, ch, it starts with ch. I spy something beginning with ch." Turns out she meant tree.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I remember my mum and dad spending a nice 10-minute car journey with my daughter when she was about 3, and she said, "Oh yeah, it's something beginning with S," and it was like, okay, and I went through everything that was on the road, and it turned out 10 minutes later to be tree. Yeah, it's just like, you've not got the idea really. I mean, our twins are now 4, so they're kind of at that stage where at least they can get the first sound, which is helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I Spy tends to cause arguments as well. Matter most car games in our cars cause arguments. Because for the yellow car game, you get 1 point for a yellow car, 10 points for a yellow mini. Yeah. So of course they always shout, "I got it first." "No, you didn't. I got it first." For about 5 minutes after every yellow car, which is useful. But there are more yellow cars on the road these days, which helps.
It's funny you should say that, because my son has an obsession with yellow cars at the moment, and there's a house we walk past to take him to nursery twice a week, where there is always a yellow car parked outside, and we don't know if that's what started his obsession, but I was just saying to another mum the other day, "I'm sure there's more yellow cars out there these days," and she's like, "No, it's just because you're looking for them." But I don't know, if you reckon there's more as well, then maybe there are more.
Another game we play is I went to the zoo, and you go for the alphabet.
Yeah.
So I went to the zoo and I saw an anaconda, and the next person says, "I went to the zoo and I saw an anaconda," but then they have to say something with B, and you go around for it. So it's sort of a remembering game.
Well, that's quite good. Mine is a bit young for that, but I like that. But somewhere there is a Ladybird book of car games, which I have featured on Ladybird Tuesday at some point, so I might have to dig that out actually and re-feature it ready for the summer holidays, I think. So we talked
Well, that
about
just reminded me, actually, on my blog, I've made a spotter sheet, and it's like an A4 sheet with pictures on. And when you see a yellow car, you can tick it. When you see a windmill, you can tick it. When you see a red lorry, you can tick it and stuff. And that's got about 16 things on, but that's got pictures on rather than words. So that's quite.
Yeah, I might have to look for that one. So if we're not travelling by car then, have we got any top tips on using public transport? I know, Ali, you obviously do that a lot with trains and everything. Any top tips for saving us money travelling like that?
Yeah, we travel on the trains more than buses. London is probably the place that we go most, and if we travelled on the day, it's like near 200 quid. Yeah, and that's one adult and 3 children. So what I've done for the last 3 years is that I've bought a friends and family railway card, travel card, and that's got mine and my mum's name on. So she can take the kids out for the day if I'm not taking them out, and that saves us a third on our railway journey. But I tend to buy our tickets in advance, so it depends on where you're going. You can take them up to like 3 weeks before, so that brings us down our travel expenses down to £66 to get to London for 4 of us, and that includes the London Underground. If you ask for a travel card, you can go on the Underground and the buses, and it's all on one ticket, so you don't have separate tickets. So you just go through, and that goes up to zone 4 or 5, I think it is.
No,
So
that's good. And that's a family rail card, because you buy those. Do you remember roughly how much a family rail card is? It's actually on my to-do list this week to buy one for us. About 30, okay.
£30, £33, something like that. And because I do it regularly, I get offered a bigger discount as well. And if you, I think it's some newspapers, they offer them for like 2 months for free. So if you get that, and you then at the end of the 2 months, they offer you more off to get one for a year.
Okay.
So I'm due to get another one now, but because I do it regularly, then I get more money off.
Yeah. No, I'm looking into getting one because my daughter's just turned 5, so we've only just had to start paying for her on trains, you see. Up till now, she's always been free of charge, so there's been no need to have a family rail card until now, so very much on my to-do list and everything. And the other thing is, I know it doesn't really affect us yet because we're all too young, but my mum is about to go on a coach holiday down to Torquay, and the thing that all her friends have told her to make sure she does, because she's over 70 before she goes, is get herself her senior citizens bus pass, because she can then use that anywhere in the country. So as well as having the free bus journeys local to her, she can go off on any other trips around the country and be able to get on free local buses and stuff like that. So for anyone watching who is slightly older, that would definitely be
but I think the key to saving money really is sort of planning in advance. So I mean, Ali knows that you're going to be using the train enough to justify buying a £30 pass, whereas I probably, even if I had to pay for the train, which I don't, it's to me, buying a £30 pass isn't really worth it for the amount I use a train. But I think if you plan in advance, like say, get your mum to buy this bus pass before she goes, get the rail card before you go.
as well.
Sorry?
It's free of charge once you're over a certain age as well. So
yeah, exactly. But it's like say, it's planning in advance and working out what journeys you are going to be doing and what places you do want to go and visit, and seeing if you can buy like some attractions. Like say you wanted to go maybe to a couple of the Merlin places. Well, actually, by the time you've bought a Merlin annual pass, you probably would have paid for those couple of places, and then you can get every other Merlin attraction that year for free. But it's not worth doing if you're not going to get the use out of it. So I think it's a lot of it's to do with pre-planning. And I've seen this week, I was very impressed. I did a Summer Days Out Twitter party on Monday night, and somebody tweeted out that they had a summer holiday planning board, and it was a whiteboard, and they just put in every day where they were going and what they were doing, and who what they had to pay and things, and they could book all the tickets in advance and plan all the travel in advance, and that would save a lot of money, I reckon, to looking and seeing what you're doing. So has anybody gone to the extreme of having a summer holiday planner?
I'm still in denial about the school summer holidays.
Not this year.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, not this year, because I'm slowly getting ops through for doing stuff, so I'm sort of like playing it by ear. And because of the railways are going to be all over the place, and because my ex has the kids for 3 weekends, I can't really plan anything until the end of the summer holidays. So, and it's the weather as well. It's not worth planning something that's going to be terrible. So we're sort of like playing it by ear, because the cheap tickets can be bought up to 2 or 3 days ahead.
Okay.
Tickets. So if we do decide to go to London or somewhere, I still have the option. It's still cheaper. It just means that you might not be able to get a reservation on the train. Yeah. But no, there's places that we want to revisit that we haven't been for a while. And my dad has sort of like just said that he'll take the kids off for the day, because his car will only take 5 people. And there's 4 of us, and there's him and his partner. So it means that we all can't get in the car. So I'll be going off for days out with her, and he's going to take the kids. So yeah, we kind of got ideas, but I haven't got a planner, not really.
What about you, Joe? What have you got planned?
Well, I've got sort of things scribbled in my diary. We've got a couple of weeks away, and then we're just going to fit in sort of random days around that, really, because like say Ali says, you get these little ops come up, and you want to be able to say yes to them and be a bit flexible, really. So we've got a few things planned in. The girls have got a few days at a local dance school. They go to a summer school. We can't commit to doing dance school every week, but for 3 days in the summer they can go and do like a crash course in dance and drama and things like that. So we're doing one of those. And then that's it, really, because one of my children goes back in the first week of September, and the others go back in the second. So to be honest, it'll be here before we know it.
That's the slightly scary thing, isn't it, really?
And it's just trying to get my paperwork done in between all that as well, which I'm not kind of looking forward to.
What I find,
I'm kind of a little bit in denial as well myself that it's actually.
Yeah, I find that
for 3 o'clock today it will, so I'm gonna have to get into it.
And you think, oh yeah, we've still got plenty of time to do stuff, and before you know it, you realise, you think, oh my God, I've got all these things I want to do, and I've got to cram it in. And so yeah, I'm really conscious of making sure that what we do get planned, I have at the first half of the holidays, and then we can relax. That's what the idea is. It probably won't happen.
Yeah, because we've just got 1 week away at some point during August, but my son is at nursery right up until the end of July, so he just goes 2 days a week. So even though my daughter finishes school next week, I've still got my son in nursery for a couple more weeks, which is good because I can do a couple of things just me and my daughter, which doesn't get to happen all that often. But I think once we're into August, I mean, I know it's 4 weeks or whatever in August, but kind of looking at my diary now, I'm like, oh, well, if we want to try and squeeze in a visit to my mum and this and that and that, I think it could fill up all quite quickly. I mean, my daughter goes back on the 3rd of September, so that's quite soon, really. And my son, I think it's the 7th, he goes back. Well, he starts preschool then. So, yeah, time, I think, will go quite quickly when you're there. But at the moment, you're kind of going, oh, my goodness, 6 weeks. What am I going to do for 6 whole weeks? But, I mean, if the weather's nice, though, I think one thing we did last year was just make the most of all the local parks. So go and discover playgrounds that we haven't found before, little things like that. And you can easily fill half a day or a day by just taking a picnic out with you, letting the kids run around somewhere that's new to them, little things like that. What I did last year was I actually wrote a big list of local attractions, especially like local museums and stuff, and tried to work through that, because sometimes you kind of get up in the morning and go, oh, what shall we do today? And actually, if you've got a nice little tick list, you can go, oh, we could go to the zoo, or we could go to this museum, or that park, or something. So maybe today, if I get time, that's something I'll do. Pull together another list of things like that. One thing I kind of thought about last night as I went off for a nice walk with Lucy and that was, what do you take with you when you go to these day trips? So we've kind of got into a habit now, because we're doing a lot of like weekend walks with the kids, of having a rucksack with a few essentials in it. So we always have water bottles in there. We always have some snacks in there. We always have a change of clothes for both children in there, because normally one of them manages to fall in something, or we have a nappy accident or something like that. And there's always a spare packet of baby wipes, because they're just so useful. And the other thing we've just added into that actually is a small first aid kit, because actually my kids normally manage to find something to trip over, to bang themselves on or something. So having some plasters and a few other bits and bobs we thought would be useful. But is there anything else you guys always make sure you've got with you?
So I'm going to say I'm a bit the opposite really. But I do tend to take little changes of clothes. I'm always a mum who forgets baby wipes, and I'm always going, baby wipes, please, I can borrow. And I think that comes from having twins, because yeah, you want to be prepared, but at the same time you've got so much stuff to carry. You kind of really ruthless on what you do and don't take with you. And wipes is just one thing that I always tend to forget. Usually in the car, but yeah, in a little bag, no. And carrier bags for various reasons. Carrier bags.
I always have a supply of carrier bags. Yesterday it was Lucy's daughter had picked up some rubbish, and she wanted to be good and pick up the rubbish. So I have to pull out of my rucksack a bag that we can put the rubbish in, rather than just having to hold a bit of rubbish for the rest of the walk and stuff, you know.
Yeah, or pine cones and sort of nutshells and things like that that pick up, and odd-shaped leaves, and
we did go through a phase where we always ended up blackberry picking. There was, I think last year the blackberries were much earlier, and just coming up to end of term, so this sort of time last year, when we'd left school, there's a heath very near us, and we'd often go there for a walk before heading home. But we ended up with every time we ended up then with a nappy bag afterwards full of blackberries, because it was the only container we had with us that didn't have holes in it or something, was a nappy bag. So it was always slightly dodgy, me walking home with this like nappy bag full of something.
Yeah, if we're not going for day trips, we do a lot of nature stuff. And actually, Mia's come home with a list that her teacher wants them to complete to make use of going outdoors. So we've got that to sort of work on during the holidays.
That sounds quite cool. That might be something.
Yes, I'm actually going to put it on my blog.
Yeah, do.
Because what I'm doing, I don't know where I've got them now, but I do have somewhere where I've got each an A5 spiral bound notebook, and each day we're going to do a page, like an art journal. It's going to be a record of what we did. So I've got so much craft stuff, so they can draw, they can write, they can just decorate it. We're going to put in bus tickets, train tickets, photographs and stuff of each day. Even if it's just pajama day and watching a film, they can put in quotes, they can do that kind of thing.
I really like that idea. I've been wondering how to kind of encourage my daughter's learning.
You can do it at any age. So if they find a leaf or something like that, because Mia really likes collecting daisies, so we can press flowers and that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is like take bags with us so we can collect things, and they can have it so that at the end of the day they can write it all up. But going back to the going out for the day, yeah, I don't take change of clothes. Never done that.
Your kids are a bit older though, that's the thing. Mine are 2 and 5, so.
Yeah, what I tend to do is each child has a rucksack, so they carry their own water, they carry their own, raincoat and jumper and food. And the first aid kit, I have plasters and I have antiseptic wipes, and I also have a tweezers. Just to pick out splinters, and if they fall over, just to make sure they get out grit and things like that. But I tried to be travel light. I'd never carry wipes either. Tissues, but never wipes, because they're just, but yeah, it's you kind of sort of like wing it. Just hope that things aren't going to go bad.
Fair enough. What about for travelling a little bit further afield then? So if you're flying or going for overnight stays and things like that, again, are there any particular things that you always try and remember to take with you, or do we just wing it then as well?
We haven't had a family holiday yet, so I can't give any tips on that, so I'll be listening to Joanne.
Well, we do. We tend to do quite a lot of overnight stays in the UK. If we're going like on day trips, sometimes if it's a long day, we'll book into a hotel and maybe do some at the day after as well on the way home. We don't go abroad very often, to be honest. We've probably gone to Disneyland maybe twice in the last 5 years, and that's all we've done. Disneyland Paris, this is not Florida. I've never left a continent. Yeah, it's a bit. What do we take? No, we just take the basics, to be honest. Change of clothes for everybody, extra clothes for everybody. So I do take, like I said, plasters and wipes, and I do take wipes when we go on a stay. My mum once packed a kettle for going on a weekend away, in case they didn't have a kettle in the room, and there was seven.
I like your mum, Jo.
There was 7 of us in a car in a Vauxhall Zafira, so it wasn't even like it wasn't, not massive for 7 people. And I literally took bare minimum. I think I had 2 children then, and my mum and dad and me and somebody else, my sister, I think. And we had bare minimum clothes because I knew it would be really tight in the car. And then my mum had this big basket out with kettle and tea bags. And I went, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Oh, I need a cup of tea." I'm like, "Bloody hell, I need a drink already myself." And we got there, and there was this beautiful lounge in the B&B with tea and coffee and everything you wanted. And I went.
You see, I have to laugh because I went to a WI meeting earlier this week, and this weekend there's a big WI camping weekend called Tea and Tents, which I would have loved to have gone to, but can't for various reasons. But some of my WI are going, and it was quite amusing because some of them have never camped before. One of them's going to stay in a travel lodge because she's 7 months pregnant, which is, I think, advisable. But one of them camps very regularly with her mum and other family members. So she brought along all her camping gear so they could put it in someone else's car for getting it up there and that. But she's there pulling out, we've got mattresses, we've got tents, we've got armchairs, she's got tables, she got what she called her larder shelving unit, which kind of pops up. And I was just like helping her lift these things over, going, wow, this is like, wow.
Oh, we've got a lot of camping stuff, to be honest. Camping's a different kettle of fish for us to hotels. Yeah, we've got the pop-up larder unit. We have the cooker, but we don't have seats and sofas and stuff. I mean, actually, we have to mainly because with there being 6 of us.
Yeah.
Hotel rooms are just a really no, to be honest. We book travel lodge for our budget, really. Looking at £100 a night for 2 rooms minimum, really, for a travel lodge. It's very rare that we get rooms together without actually asking. You put 2 rooms on the same booking, and they put you on different floors, and you're like, well, how does that work? Even getting rooms next to each other is hard when you've got 6 of you. So camping, we got a tent a couple of years ago, and it was the best thing we did, really.
Do you have any blog posts about going camping for the first time as a family?
Sort of. I did one for I did a guest post for Jane Batt. She had a blog called Taking 5, and it was about taking more than 3 children on holiday, 3 or more children on holiday, and the fact that getting hotel rooms and B&Bs was really, hard to do if expensive, really. And I did do something on that, but it wasn't. I mean, it was maybe our first camping trip as a family, but it certainly wasn't our first camping trip ever. I mean, me and my husband used to go quite a lot. So
we've never camped together. I've not camped since I was about 20.
See, I don't think you should get married to somebody until you've been camping with them. It's one of those life-defining moments, I think.
We've done a camper van trip together. We did that for our honeymoon, and we survived, and we're still married.
Oh, you'd be all right there.
But no, we've never done the camping thing, and we kind of like to do it, but I think it's almost like there's a fear. If you're not a camper and you don't know what camping really involves and what kit, because I mean there's so much kit out there you can buy that I do feel a bit like I'd like to go camping, but I don't know where to start.
Well, go on, Ali.
Yeah, sorry. We went camping when Mia was 14 months old, so Caitlin would have been 3 and Kieran would have been 6. And we basically borrowed a tent from my dad, and then because we were going, it's a hand fasten, which is a pagan wedding, and so we had a group of people who knew what to take, so they just told us what to take, and because it was going to be in a camp inside, there's a lot of stuff that we didn't need to take. But yeah, that was an experience, because Mia was teething at the time, so I didn't get a lot of sleep. Yeah. But I think I would do it again. I think the kids want to sort of like camp out in the garden with no tents, just under the stars.
We see, we own a tent, but it was 20 quid from Tesco's about 4 years ago, and that's it.
No, you need to be on a family tent. You need to be spending at least top 200 quid, really. I think for a decent. I mean, we've got a 2-bedroom one, and it opens up, and you can get 5 people in the bedroom, and then so we just bung all the kids in there, 4 of them in there, and then we sleep outside not outside, but on the living bit, and then you've got an awning as well. Yeah, that was a good couple of hundred quid, I think, easily, if not more. But yeah, the really crap 20 quid. Sorry.
It's knowing where to start, though, isn't it? You know,
it is, and what
my 20 quid job, but I'd probably get wet and cold, and we'd be divorced by the end of the weekend.
Exactly. But if you're really not sure about it, what you can do now is a camping and caravanning club. I've got something called Ready Tent or Ready Bed, and you basically just turn up, and they have a tent. It's not like a glamping thing. It's just a tent. Yeah. But it's got sofas in, you've got all the cooking things you need, mattresses. I think they might even supply the bedding. I'm not 100%. You might have to check that. Okay. But literally, I think you just bring your bedding and your clothes and your food.
I'll look into that.
And it's like 2 or 3 nights, and if you don't like it, you never have to do it again.
No, I like that idea. Because the kids are keen, but yeah. I'm just a bit like, oh, I don't know where to start. My husband would probably spend hours researching it, spend a ridiculous amount of money on all the kit.
Yeah.
But I'd rather,
go on Free Cycle. And do you know what? Charity shops have a lot of stuff as well.
See, I never find anything outdoorsy in our local charity shops. I don't know if it's just this area, but because I always look for anything outdoorsy, even just like outdoorsy clothing, like fleeces.
I've seen loads, like roll-up beds and
wow,
what do you call them? Sleeping bags and equipment and everything.
No, none of that around here. But
well, my mum and dad are very keen. They've got a trailer tent. So they've been like caravanning and camping and stuff for years and years. And my mum's part of a Facebook group that does camping and caravanning sales or something like that. And you buy secondhand things, but it's all off like experienced top end campers rather than just sort of some rabble you found on Gumtree. Yeah. And they've sold a lot of stuff on there as well to fellow campers. I went round to the house the other day, and they'd bought a new trailer tent, and they was getting rid of the smaller one, and they were putting this smaller well, my dad was in, and he had this other guy with him, and he'd come to buy it off him, and they were putting it up to see how it was, and they were chatting about the little adventures and stuff that they'd been on. I know it was really cute. Yeah, they love it. It's a middle-aged thing, isn't it, camping, I think. Yeah. But I think a lot of camping success, I think, depends on how well the children take to it, because if the children don't like it, it can turn into, hell on earth within seconds.
Well, that's the thing. So far, my husband and my daughter did one day choose to camp in the garden, and they lasted about 40 minutes, and that was it. So yeah, I think we'd try and find somewhere local enough that we could drive home, I think, the very first time.
Yeah, and the trick is as well to find somewhere that's very family friendly, because it's all right going in the field in the middle of nowhere, but they're not going to enjoy it. We always go to somewhere that's got like a clubhouse, so we can go on a night for some entertainment and some food. Yeah. We always go if there's a swimming pool, and I tend to look for somewhere that's got a half decent park. I mean, some of them advertise a park and it's literally a play for him, and you're like, yeah, thanks. That's going to last about 2 seconds before I get bored of that. Yeah. So a decent playground where at least you can send the older couple and say, just go and play in that for half an hour while we put the tent up, so we're not killing each other. Yeah. Is always useful. So it's about finding the right site, I think, and it's about if your children enjoy it, then you should be fine. But I know people have had hell trips, really hell, but it's because the children they refuse to sleep in a tent. It's not normal for them. If they're bad sleepers already at home, it's not going to magically disappear because you take them into a tent. Yeah. So it's about, if you know your children will be quite happy to settle in and go to sleep, then you'll probably be fine.
What do you do if it rains?
You get wet.
Do you take any games or anything with you?
No, we tend to just go out on day trips. So we use a camping as a substitute for a hotel rather than a camping trip in itself. Yeah. And we just go on day trips, and we just tend to do the same stuff we would have done anywhere, really. I mean, we just take wellies. We make sure we always take wellies, and we always take some sort of boat shoes that we can just sort of slip on and slip off for around the site. And then shoes is a big theme on camping trips. We just tend to have a box in the doorway of just shoes. Yeah, so if it rains, we just carry on as normal, really.
Yeah, no such thing as bad weather, just inappropriate clothing. That's what we say in Yorkshire, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then, then you've got to try and get not to touch the sides of the tent. Don't touch the sides of the tent, it's wet. Which is easier said than done with children. But they get the hang of it, I think. And my younger two absolutely love camping. I mean, I didn't think they would, but we took them first when they were like 18 months, 2 years old, and they loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I think we need to have a go before my kids are too old that they start just protesting that they don't want to, really. But maybe that's what we'll try and do this summer. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we're running out of time. So, Ali, do you want to say anything about what we're going to do with Friday at 11 going forward over the summer? Because as parents, we're going to struggle to do the usual slot.
Yeah, I did mention it last week. Yeah, sorry. I did mention it last week, but we, because there's 6 weeks of us, we might not be able to get here at 11, day trips and things like that. So we're going to do Friday at 11 at night with wine. So it means that those that work might be able to come and join us for hangout at night instead of during the day. So we have, as usual, no idea what we're going to be talking about. So yeah, I don't know if we want to start it next week.
I don't think we've thought that far ahead, have we? I think we'll push it out on social media as and when we've decided what we're doing. But watching out for some Friday at 11 p.m. I guess.
So hopefully 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
We'll see how things go. But yeah, 11 p.m. seems a bit more doable.
For the holidays, certainly. I was going to say, and after that, hopefully we'll be back in early September with our usual slot once all the kids have disappeared off back to school.
Yes.
So anyway, thank you, Ali and Joe, for joining today, and we hope we've given you some top tips for your summer holidays and everything, and maybe let us know how you get on if you go and try camping for the first time. So thanks very much, everyone, and see you soon. Bye.